the director of Godzilla Minus One. It says dunks on Marvel Studios, but it just dunks on Hollywood, basically. Critiques Hollywood's wastage. And that's what it is. It's just Hollywood's waste that they do. But it also reveals, actually, how kind of nice they were to how they sort of established themselves making this film and what they did as a studio to make sure everyone was comfortable. It's quite wholesome, actually. And you know what? It's so nice looking at the tweets about Takashi Yamazaki on Twitter. What he's doing, the interviews and things. He is just living his best life. He's loving it. He's like, oh, I met Steven Spielberg and he loved, he loved Godzilla Minus One. He watched it 3 times. I've met God. Like, this guy is literally living the dream. It's so wholesome to watch this guy, catapulted to worldwide stardom now, and just enjoying it, basically. It's the true. It's nice to watch someone get all of this stuff that very clearly, deserves it in terms of, approaching it from a degree of, well, he just respected the material and worked with it and pleased people. It's nice. But anyway, less of that. What was said? So he had an interview with Vulture. So Yamazaki said his team underlined that working conditions were pretty comfortable during the making of Godzilla Minus One. How, pray tell? Well, apparently they refurbished an entire floor of an office. Also had, no small feat, an on-site sushi chef working for him. One thing that I will say is that we had our company do a pretty nice renovation and overhaul of this office floor. Because once we knew that we were going to work on a Godzilla project, we knew that we were going to be spending significant hours together. We made it more comfortable and cozy. We spent some budget building out a kitchen. How nice! We have a designated sushi chef in the kitchen. We really try to avoid long hours, but if you do, it's a very welcoming environment in which to spend a few extra hours. Hopefully, in due time, VFX budget increases will allow for more improvements. I'm looking forward to the day when we can pay creatives more. How bloody wholesome is that? Not Western VFX crews. They're like, guys, we've got to rush this. We've got Disney barking down our backs, trying to get a quick rewrite days before release. Obviously, Japan isn't great for paying creatives. We know that. But at the very least, they try to make it comfortable as well. They're like, look, we acknowledge things are crap. We don't want to do long hours, but if we do, we're going to try and make this as nice as possible for everyone. And we're going to have a sushi chef in the kitchen, just so you can all have nice sushi. And sushi chefs, that's a work of art. It's not like the garbage sushi that we all pick up now and we know. Sushi is actually an art form. If you go to Japan, it's an art form. It's incredible. So to have a designated sushi chef, that's bloody great. That's amazing. Anyway, there's more. When asked if there was any advice that he could give Hollywood to solve their problem of keeping costs low on set, Yamazaki said that Hollywood should exercise more care in their filmmaking process. Yes. If there is a solid vision throughout the process of making a single film, then I think there is a way to cut down on costs. Yes. There are trial and error costs, and bouncing ideas off each other is necessary to a certain extent. But if you can clearly communicate that vision, then maybe there is no need to do a lot of experimenting on the side that eats up a lot of costs and time, that's Disney in a nutshell. Thoughts? I love this story. I think this is great.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Culture.
No, look, first of all, they know how to treat their people, number one. Number two, they do try to live within a given set of hours, which is amazing. 3, they recognize that when they ask you to do extra, they'll give you extra. 4, you're 100% right. If they are hiring a designated professional sushi chef, I can't speak today, that is amazing. I mean, I would love that. If I want no other food than sushi all day. I would eat sashimi. I would eat, you could keep me satisfied and at work if you fed me nothing but sashimi all day. I don't think I'd leave. I would never leave a job if they had sushi available. So, but aside from all of that, he says the obvious thing, which is why this film costs so little, and it's why it did so well. They didn't spend money on dumb stuff. They didn't waste time. They had a well-scripted shot. They had pre-visualization set. Everything was ready to go beginning to end. If you do that, if everything's already ready, you're not going to spend a bunch of money on stuff and you won't have to redo it again. You won't have to reshoot your entire film all over again. It's pretty smart.
You wouldn't have to ask VFX crews to make the same scene, but 10 different versions of the same scene.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolute nonsense. Go on then, Tom. Rip him a new one.
No, I agree with you guys. This is a very cool thing of hockey to do for his people, and I mean, again, you guys, like you're saying, I looked it up. They do okay for the most part. Like, they don't do horrible, but they also treat their people a little bit better in some means, and this is a great example of that, right? Like, they do have a bit more rigid hours. They aren't treated like cattle, or I don't know a better term at this point, because cattle don't really work.
Conveyor belt,
or whatever.
Conveyor belt creatives.
Conveyor belt of creatives, yeah, basically whatever you want to call it. That is a good sign. And look, more movies like this, they made a shit ton of money on this movie. So,
well, even more so when you consider how bad the yen is against the dollar.
Well, we don't even know what it did over there. That's the thing. It could have done huge box office. Like, it could be the biggest movie they ever made, because I think Shin Godzilla was at the time that came out. So, considering how popular this has been, even more so than that, I mean, who knows? I mean, but at the end of the day, no, good for him. Hopefully he gets another movie. Hopefully he doesn't get sucked up too much into the Hollywood business before he gets to finish another one or two of these to set up kind of a tone going forward, and then let other people kind of come in and make some more. But it's about time Toho has an ongoing series, and if there's anyone that's a good place to start, this is it.
Yeah, well, they've come out
thing here. I think it's cool. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they've come out and said that they're not rushing to do anything either. They're happy just to develop another film quietly and slowly, which is brilliant. Brilliant to hear. They're not just going to rush it because they don't actually have an idea. I don't think they expected it to do as good as it did, quite frankly. But I like this story. It's a nice story. It's good, and it highlights the problem with Hollywood. Just so much wastage. Again, you're going to make people do, a variation of the same scene 10 different times and not even give them enough time to render it, so it comes back and it's absolute crap. Because that's what a lot of these issues are, is that they don't give the VFX crews enough time to render anything. So it literally looks half rendered, because it is half rendered. It is not fully rendered. There's not enough time to add the full textures and stuff. I mean, it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. We have a clear vision. The best example of this in Hollywood in modern days, of something which had a clear vision, which managed to keep the cost down, but was heavy CGI. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not, but it was the creator. You don't have to like the film, but you can appreciate what they managed to do with such a small budget. And that was heavy CGI, $80 to $85 million. And the reason why it was so, good VFX wise in terms of quality is because they had a clear vision. It was all locked in, ready to go before, they were shooting it all. So they had enough time to render it and just work on it quietly in the background. Love the story. But will Hollywood take notice? What do we reckon? Culture, yes or no?
Rephrase the question.
Will Hollywood take notice of making cheaper products? Will they be able to?
No.
I guess.
No. I mean, they took notice.
Advice.
No, they took notice of this. You've asked me this question before in a different way. I'm going to answer it this way. Hollywood always learns the wrong lesson every single time, especially when it comes to making films. They see the way something like found footage films are made, and then they botch it up and spend way more money on them, trying to make them look like something that was really a found footage film. They spend too much money on all kinds of other things that have nothing to do with production. They can definitely look at it and take a lesson from him. They just won't. I mean, we've been saying it. Tom rants about this all the time. You just wind him up, get him started. He'll talk about the fact that they waste tons and tons of money on dumb things like, well, staff services. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, basically all I say is they'll never make movies cheaper in Hollywood. They'll just find ways to make us pay for it. And the reason why movies cost so much besides actors is because of the union crap, and that's because they have to have 3 people for one job.
Yeah, that's true.
You're spending too much money on caterers and all this other crap, as opposed to where if you just had one sushi chef come in for your animators, how much of a difference would that make on the morale? As opposed to, well, you guys are going to be working another 40 extra hours this week, and you're not getting any overtime because we didn't budget for it. Sorry, but you get to put Disney on your resume.
Yeah, true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Nice little story.